One. Hey nerds! In this video, we review and do a spoiler breakdown and discussion of the premiere of The Marvels. It is written by Megan O'Donnell, Nia DeCosta, Elissa Karasik, and Zeb Wells, and is directed by Nia DeCosta. Starting now. Welcome to the Nerd Social. I am Colin.
I'm John.
And I'm Nathan.
So this is now the last MCU movie of 2023, and it is The Marvels. And so the spoiler-free logline of The Marvels is that Carol Danvers, aka Captain Marvel, has reclaimed her identity from the tyrannical Kree and taken revenge on the Supreme Intelligence. But unintended consequences see Carol shouldering the burden of a destabilized universe. When her Sudis sent her to an anomalous wormhole linked to a Kree revolutionary, her powers become entangled with that of Jersey City superfan Kamala Khan, aka Ms. Marvel, and Carol's estranged niece, now S.A.B.E.R astronaut Captain Monica Rambeau. Together, this unlikely trio must team up and learn to work in concert to save the universe as the Marvels. So, John, what do you think of this of the last entry of the year for the MCU?
Uh, Finally, it's come out. We've been waiting for this movie. I know a lot of factors went into pushing this movie back, and we finally got it. I still enjoyed this movie. It's not without its problems, and we can definitely delve into that in the spoiler discussion. I felt the script was still a little messy. It felt a little rushed. At the same time, you're bringing, all that you're trying to bring in new characters, new to many audiences, the general audiences, definitely not new to the fans who've been following up and keeping up with the TV shows on Disney Plus. But I thought the action scenes were great. Great fight scenes that were in there. Very good choreography. For the most part, the effects looked pretty good to me, and I did have some issues with some of the acting. I felt like I don't know if it was under the direction or maybe just the way the actors played some of their parts, but I didn't think it was the greatest. And I also thought the tone was kind of all over the place. I know Marvel movies are meant to be, for the most part, very funny, but I have to admit there were a lot of parts that I didn't find very funny. It kind of fell flat for me. And a lot of it's probably because we saw a lot of funny scenes in the trailers already.
Mm-hmm.
So when we got to the movies, just like any other movie where you've already seen the funny scenes in the trailers, it just wasn't that funny when you get to it. But anyways, overall the movie itself, it got the job done, advanced the story a little bit in the overall Marvel universe, what they're trying to accomplish. Definitely, especially with the end scenes and also the mid-credit scenes, they're really trying to hit it in a certain direction. But again, overall, I felt like it was still rushed.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the emotional scenes didn't really feel earned
Mm-hmm.
at certain parts. So that's my criticism over that, and I'll give my rating in a sec. But I still enjoyed it. There were many fun scenes. Iman Vellani was awesome. She's great. What a
Yeah.
talent! What a find in that young girl.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like her acting really stuck out
Yep.
compared to the veteran actors that were in the movie. So that's
Hmm.
kind of that says a lot. Again, I don't know if they were phoning it in or maybe just could have used some additional cuts, additional takes on some of those parts. But overall, Iman also stuck out to me the most in the whole movie. But overall, again, I liked it. I didn't like it as much as some of the other movies, and I'll definitely give my overall ranking in the grand 33 total movies in the MCU where it ranks for me. So yeah,
Wow.
that's how I feel.
33. That's just like impressive right now
33, I
already.
know.
It's already really impressive with 33. Um,
Mm.
so Nathan, what do you think of the Marvels? Your impressions?
Yeah, I think I had a really good time. I went on Friday with my 3-year-old, and he mostly had a good time too.
Hmm.
He really couldn't follow some of what was going on, and I could sympathize with him at a certain point with some of that, because I think that there's like 20 minutes cut out of this film. I think the editing was a little bit weird in this film. That being said, I enjoyed it more than um, Multiverse of Madness
Mm.
or Thor. Um, so maybe they cut it to heck because it was the extra 20 minutes, even though it would have made the movie make a little bit more sense. They wanted it to be brisk and just move. But yeah, it made some parts of the movie a little bit inscrutable. Um, but yeah, as John said, Iman Vellani is great. She plays Kamala very well.
Yep.
I can't say it's weird because yeah, I know that Brie Larson and Danvers can act very well because I've seen them on other things. So I don't know that it's the case that they can act. She can Alon Benali can act better than they can. I think that she knew what kind of movie she was in, or at least the way that they cut it. Maybe the way that John Paris and Brie Larson was acting made sense for the longer cut, but the way that they cut it, so it was so fast. Um, the tone and her giddiness made sense. And they seemed like they were kind of in a different movie at certain points. Yeah, but yeah, it's. I think that the way that they cut it, Miss Marvel is definitely the highlight of of the Marvels. She made it very fun whenever she was on screen.
Mm-hmm.
She had really genuine, like human reactions to
Mm-hmm.
like the weirdness that was going on. Even though she has superpowers, she's still
Right.
like geeking out about her idol in the movie and stuff like that. And yeah, and even like even though like I said, there were some cuts that made the plot inscrutable. The action scenes, like John said, were really cool.
Mm-hmm.
The set pieces were really good, and I know people have been complaining about the villain. Honestly, she has far more of a motivation than Ronan did. It was like he just wanted
Yeah.
to destroy things. Like she like we're
Yeah.
not. I'm not going to get into the specifics until we get into the breakdown. But she like you understood why she was doing what she was doing, whereas there have been. There have been MCU villains that are just like evil just for evil's sake. But yeah, with
Mm-hmm.
three leads, it's difficult to really flesh out the villain even beyond that. But I understood why she was doing what she was doing,
Right.
and yeah, because there's something dropped in some information dropped in like the second act, that explains her motivations. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. I think that for me, this is definitely a good movie. I really liked it. I think that it's on par with the. I mean, I hate doing comparisons, but I mean, it's like it's kind of like a gravity. You have to compare and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, I think also they did a very good job of having the tie-ins to the different properties because, I mean, she had a very big challenge, Nia DeCosta, to tie in everything from
Yeah.
WandaVision, from Far From Home, from Ms. Marvel, from the last movie, so it's like all these tie-ins are coming in
Secret
together.
Invasion a
Secret
little bit.
Invasion, exactly. So it's like you're tying all those in together, and they did a pretty good job with that. With bringing them all together in a very coherent way, and then having a plot point that is at least coherent. I mean, like you said, Nathan, it's coherent. You know what the motivation is, and
Yeah.
then bringing in some really cool stuff. At the very end, and also the action scenes were awesome. I agree with the both of you in terms of that. Um, and so they had to bring in a lot of different things, and there was also another cameo that brought in. So it was like what can you say? I mean, it's I don't understand the criticisms. I mean, I don't understand like the kind of the vitriol. Then I mean, it was like really out there already, and it's like you're not even giving it a chance anymore. And it's like whether it's superhero fatigue, whether it's anything like that, you're not giving it your due process. And it's like, yeah, I'm sure like you'll probably say, John, that there's definitely some criticisms on it, and that's totally valid and stuff like that. But at the same time, it's like some people just go overboard. And Nathan, you and I kind of discussed yesterday about there's a lot of kind of overboard stuff because we kind of looked through, and I know that you and John had a conversation offline about it.
Hmm.
Like there's a lot of good content that's there. Yes, some of it is appropriate for some people, some of it's not appropriate for others, some of it's not, but that's just the nature of things. It's not like everyone's going to gravitate to everything that there's there. So I mean, if I did review Secret Invasion, I'm probably going to be a fairly low score.
Mhm.
There's some good parts, but at the same time, it's just like I don't think that people are giving it a chance. But then there's also the idea of continuity, which is yes, there's some inconsistencies here and there about that, and yes, those are legitimate things. But then when you tie into kind of like the hatred towards the actress, or those type of things, it's just like, come on, that's not necessary. And if you don't like it, you don't have to watch it. So that's kind of like my overall general thoughts of the movie, but also kind of like the greater MCU overall, which we will kind of discuss in spoilers as well. So yeah, that's kind of like my general impression. So in terms of that, having said all that, John, what was your rating for the Marvels?
Out of our rating system that we're using, I would give it 6 out of 10. Date night, which
Okay.
means that's a film that won't ruin a special evening with your significant other, but you're not going to really revisit. So that's the rating I give. 6 out of 10.
Okay. Okay. Nathan, go ahead. What do you think? What's your rating?
Yeah, I'm probably not going to be as harsh. I was just thinking about this over the last 24 hours or so. I'm probably going to give it an 8. Road trip.
Okay.
Something worth a road trip. I will say that there are definitely flaws with this film,
Hmm.
but because it's so short and it's enjoyable,
Yeah.
and I think I will revisit the fight scene at the beginning because that was really cool to watch. Again,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna watch the entire thing over and over again, but the fight scene, the stuff at the beginning, I want to see that over again. But yeah, it's I think it's been I haven't been I don't I haven't I didn't go leave the theater feeling like I was disappointed or it was a waste of my time. And like I said, I want to go
Yes.
back and see that opening scene, and I might go back and see it later on this week. And I can't give this a lower rating than I did like Multiverse of Madness or Thor when I saw both of those movies and had no interest in going back and see. Like I would go back and revisit it on Disney Plus, but those things on Disney Plus, but I didn't want to like go back to the theater and see those things. And I actually want to go back to the theater and see that when the opening action scene again. So
Right.
I give it an 8.
Yeah, I was also kind of like thinking back and forth, and I look at our descriptions for ratings, and I'm like, this makes sense, but you know what? I'm just going to bump it up a little bit. So I was struggling between 7 and 8, so I'm just gonna put it in 8 because Amanda Villani is just so good. It's just like she's just so
Yeah.
good, and she's just like so much enthusiasm. Like she's a fan, and I just because to her and her action scene was really good. It was like really
her
awesome.
whole her,
Yeah.
her whole family is a highlight of the film as well. Like
Yes.
that,
Yes.
they're fun. They're fun whenever they're on the screen.
Yes.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's just a lot. The movie's fun. I mean,
Yes. Exactly. So
uh,
it's yeah.
yeah,
So it's like they add so much heart to it. They add so much drama and heart, and just like they're just so cool to be with. They're a
Mhm.
cool family to be with. Yes, they are very traditional in the same time, but it was so cool. And I think that at the same and then also, yeah, some of the plot points was like, huh, why do we have to do this? The
yeah.
villain, why? Like, okay, but okay, I get it. And then also the post credit stuff. Really cool. Really, really cool. So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
have to I
yeah.
have to I have to bring it I have to bring it up because of those reasons. Yeah. Yeah,
I
go
would
ahead.
say that I was actually thinking about this the other day when I was thinking about where to place this because it's so short.
Hmm.
I think of this as like a prelude, given especially the way that it ends with all the tie-ins. I think this is the best and most hopeful tie-ins that I've seen in a Marvel
Yes.
file.
I agree.
Like showing things that could come like two really cool things. Like I can't even remember like Multiverse of Madness was like, okay, Doctor Strange is gonna go off with what's her name?
Clea. It's a Clea.
Clea for
Yeah.
an
Oh,
incursion.
Charlize Theron was in there, so I was like that's kind of cool.
Sure, but I'm not really interested in what they have to do.
True.
When we get to when we get spoilers, like I'm far more
Yeah.
interested in what the two
Right.
things that happen at the end of this movie.
True.
What
True.
was that? What was the end of Thor? What was
Hercules.
Yeah. Again, who cares? Like Hercules. I guess it might be fun, but like it's
Yeah.
compared to like my enthusiasm for what they teased at the end of this movie and the enthusiasm for like Hercules is like the giant gap between.
Yeah, that's true. And then, Ant-Man, like Quantumania did not really have one that's memorable. Guardians, it was kind of funny, but it was not. It was like kind of self-contained. And then Wakanda Forever was really good, was really emotional.
You had some. You
But
had
that was
some.
great. I would say that I argue that's probably the best one, but it was again not like previewing future
Right.
things.
Even Shang-Chi, which I think is a better movie than this, didn't have much of a tease. Like this is the best. Like this is
Mhm.
has been the best tease for what's coming up in a while. And plus, like I
Right.
said, it was really short. So I don't really even think this. I think of this as a whole movie because they cut it up so much and made it so short. I think this is like a prelude to really cool things that are coming in the future, and it was fun. It was a fun prelude. So
Right. Right. Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. Okay. All right. So, any other thoughts, John, before we get into spoilers?
Now let's get right into the spoilers.
All right, let's do that. So, if you like our discussion about the Marvels or any other of our content, please like, share, subscribe for more of it. And yeah, so let's get right into it. Spoilers ahead. So we do have screenshots of from the Marvels. So some of them I had to kind of like intertwine with the previous Disney Plus show with Miss Marvel. So because we don't have it, it's in the movie theater. So in any case, we some of it's from the trailers as well. So we see the beginning where we kind of pick up really right off from where the post credit from Ms. Marvel is with them kind of like intertwining their powers somehow, some way. And also we saw that part in the trailer as well. This part where Monica was exploring this anomaly. Yeah. And so and then so they kind of switch bodies, and then you kind of saw Ms. Marvel twirling around in space and stuff like that.
Yeah, in Monica's suit. Yeah.
Yeah, in Monica's suit. So yeah, so we kind of left it off there, and we also leave off at where Monica was at in WandaVision, which was a while ago. Where she was kind of promoted up to the space station up there. So now she's kind of established herself as kind of like a important figure in the space station. So yeah, go ahead, Nathan. Did you want to say
I was going
something?
to say just before this. Well, just before this, I guess that what they tried to do is start the movie off kind of with the three leads. I think they start with Miss Marvel. I actually missed the beginning of that, but I've heard about it with like some of the stuff from the Miss Marvel show, like her art. Is the
Right.
introduction to her.
Yeah.
Where I actually came in is where they switched over to Captain Marvel, and she was like scrubbing through her memories because apparently she's still 30 years later haven't retrieved all her memories, which sucks.
Yep.
And then they go over to Monica on the space station, and you see her getting to be an astronaut again because she was an astronaut before the blip, and then Hayward was like, oh, we've grounded all missions because we want to focus on threats, terrestrial threats. So
Right.
she gets to be an astronaut again. So yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely a cool scene. Definitely, again, it's from the trailer, and so some of the stuff that's already been in the trailer. And we see this is again from the post credit. From where she's she's in Kamala's bedroom, and she's like, "What's going on here?"
Yeah, and we
Yeah,
saw this at the
like
end
this is
of Miss Marvel.
Yeah.
So-
I mean, the stalker's bedroom, basically.
Yeah, exactly. She's like, "What's going on?" It's like me, my bestie. I'm like, "Oh my gosh," It's like, what is going on with his young girl? It's like kind of like stalkerish type of syndrome and stuff. Yeah.
So I noticed they cut out where she actually says "what the" in the
Yes.
TV show. So
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yep, exactly. So kind of we're kind of like fish out of water type of thing, and then she then went downstairs and then had a discussion with her parents, and her parents were like, what's going on? And then
Her
they
parents are just so
yeah
funny.
yeah
So Kamala is taken to the ship, and she's like freak. Well, actually, she's taken to the ship first or second. I think the first she's in space, and then
right
she's yelling, and then she says to Nick Fury, "Is this an Avengers test?"
yeah
She's ridiculous.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just so it's yeah. This is again one of the switching parts again from the trailer as well with when she met with the Flurkin, and yeah. I wonder if they going back to what you're saying, the funny bits is like I wonder if they could just left this out of the trailer. You know what I'm saying? Like this is
Yeah, I mean,
yeah
I get both sides. Like,
yeah
you want to show some parts where you want to draw in the audience. Hey, this is some pretty cool stuff. But at the same time, if you're going to do that, I want to make sure that there are other parts in the movie
Yeah, I
that are
think
going to be just as good, right?
yeah, I think
Hopefully.
they cut down the movie. So you a lot of the things that they showed in the trailers just ended up being a lot of them, not a lot of the movie, but a significant, because there's definitely some things that they don't show in the movies. Like there was a
right
big, like I said, the big reveal
Yeah.
about why the villain is the villain, not just the
right
villain, but is not in the trailer. And I feel like I there's another version of this movie where they lean more into that, because that's like a major thing that happened. Like it's not
Absolutely.
yeah, it's
I
like
mean, look, I don't know about if you guys felt the same way, but the more I watched it, or the more I thought about it, I'm like, I get all these establishing scenes that they're having to show, hey, let's catch you up on where we are, who these
yeah,
people are, and all that stuff. But I
yeah,
still felt like, man, if we had just a little bit more time with some of those things, because some things still felt like cut out. I was trying to view this from the perspective of the general audience that may not have watched some of these other things that these characters were in. And to me, it
right.
just felt like bang, bang, bang. So, for example, my son watching it, he's like, "Wait, who's that again? Wait, she does what? What can she do?" So it
Oh,
was still a little difficult to kind
oh,
of
she
keep up, right?
he didn't see the WandaVision or Miss Marvel.
No, none of the like only just a few of the shows. Definitely not Miss Marvel, and
Okay.
because WandaVision was so long ago, it was
Yeah,
easy to forget
2021.
who was
Yeah,
Tiana Paris playing, right? So like,
yeah,
what
hmm
yeah.
powers does she have and stuff. And they kept glossing over it in the movie too. Like,
I
yeah, I
mean,
got it through the magic hex.
yeah
yeah, I mean, there's a lot that happened to her in that show, but it's hard. In a movie, I think the summaries were fine.
hmm
You got to think about the summaries that they had to do in Infinity War, right? Like, or in the summer, whenever there's a team up, right? They introduce these people, and they're not going to go over what happened in their movie or what happened in their television show. What they want to do is give enough to the audience so that you're not completely confused.
yeah
It's kind of confusing. She says that I went through a witch's hex, and it's you get a little bit of a chuckle, but like, okay, it's fine. I mean, origin
yeah
stories in general are just weird, and if you want to find out more, you can watch the
watch the
WandaVision
show
show.
yeah
And for Miss Marvel, she said, yeah, my grandma sent me this bangle, and it unlocked my powers.
right
Yeah.
It's really all you need for both of
yeah
them.
and
Uh,
I think
I,
yeah
I
I would,
disagree. I
I
disagree
would,
because, like, if you have Doctor Strange pop up in Infinity War, you at least have seen, like, general audiences, a lot of them actually did go and watch Doctor Strange, whereas Ms. Marvel and Monica Rambeau, just how large was that audience for both of those shows to see
yeah,
to
but
the end and be able to remember those, right?
true
So,
on I get what you're saying, but like you at a certain point, this is not for the uninitiated. You have to either keep up, or you have to keep up. This, like you said, this is the at the top. This is movie number 33.
I get
Like
it, but we can't ignore the new audiences that still. Look, it's the age-old problem with comics, right? Comic
Mhm.
yeah,
books. Where is the jumping on point for people to draw in, for these comic companies to draw in new audiences, right? If it turns out that they have to go through back issues and tie-ins and crossovers just to keep up,
no,
some of them are not even going to put in the effort, and I think that's also contributing to some of the the lack of audience for this movie, and that's a big issue.
Yeah, we can talk about more about why the lack of audience. I feel like people were trying to hate on this movie just because it was led by three women. There are very few team up women movies. I feel like there was a spy movie a couple years ago with
The 355.
yeah, 355, and again it got the very similar response. People were basically
Yeah.
waiting for this thing to fail.
Right.
You got two women of color and as leads as well. So like there are other reasons besides that. I think if they had did some more exposition on who they are, I don't know if that would have gotten more, because they didn't come in the first place. Like they were hating on the movie in the first place. So you're talking about like issues where people who actually came might have been lost. And I don't know that I agree with you there, just because, like I said, I think that you don't need to know the full origin story of either one of these people. They gave you enough. Plus, they used, when they got on the ship together, they used a bunch of clips from
Yeah.
both shows
They did.
when they merged their minds. So
Yep.
there was enough context there so that you weren't completely lost, and also you connected with these people. I feel like you connected more with um, Kamala because of her performance and her reactions, and even if you weren't there for Miss Marvel, you love her from this movie. And there was a little
Right.
bit less. There's a little bit less there with Monica. But you do still get something there, because you get the gut punch of, her mother died,
Hmm.
and what happens later on in the movie when, when we get to that. So yeah,
Yeah.
you get there are some emotional touch points with all the characters. I think I think that lack of enthusiasm on this movie happened before anyone saw the movie. Like
Yeah.
things, we'll see if things pick up, because I think it's getting okay reviews.
Hmm.
Definitely better than Thor. I think Thor was not certified French, right? And neither
Yeah.
was Last
Kind of
Couple, right?
pan. Yeah. Ant-Man was kind of pan.
Ant
Guardians
Man
3
as
was
well.
Guardians 3 was okay. I think I was probably good to, like, okay to
Yeah.
good, and then
That
and
Word
that
of
then
had
mouth.
yeah.
much better ratings. Yeah.
Word of mouth actually might help this film,
Hmm.
because people may have been keeping away because of the last couple of things that came out of
Right.
Marvel, having nothing to do with this movie as
Right.
well. So that's the other
And
thing,
I think
beyond the hate.
yeah, and I think also is that once they find out that Ms. Marvel has a show, they'll go back to Ms. Marvel. I think, and
Right.
also I also think that Monica's performance was really really. I mean the performance, the Monica Rambeau is a very compelling character as well. They might go back to WandaVision to see certain things. So I think that there is potential for that to happen where I go back. Whereas if they missed it the first time, they can go back to kind of see it. So we'll kind of see where it kind of all shakes out and stuff. And again, this is
Yeah,
the part. Yeah.
I'm looking at the Rotten Tomatoes. So right now, so it started at like a 53, and it's been creeping up as more and more critics actually put their
Yeah.
I think it was
their
a
reviews in.
60 the last
So
time
it's
I
it's
saw it.
it's
Yeah.
it's like it's like 62 now.
Okay.
Secret Invasion was 54.
Hmm.
Ant-Man and the Wasp was 46.
Ugh.
Um, uh,
They don't deserve that low,
uh,
but I mean, yeah, I get it. I
Yeah,
get
it
it
did.
though.
Yeah, it
I like
yeah.
Kang the Conqueror. I like
No, I
Jonathan.
liked
Yeah.
it. It's
No, Kang was
still.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the movie, yeah. So I
Yeah.
think that has more to do with why people didn't come out the first weekend, and maybe
Mm.
word of mouth will have people come out during this, especially since we have a holiday coming up there with you guys in the U.S.
Hmm.
Tomorrow. So hopefully they'll be able to make some money back that they didn't get in the first couple of days. We'll
Right.
see.
Right. And also the because the actor strike is over, I think they're gonna try to push more
Oh, they've
promotion,
already.
Promotion,
hopefully.
Yeah, they've already
yeah,
Yeah.
started
yeah.
it.
On
Yeah,
social
Yeah,
media and
talk
stuff
Brie
like that.
shows
Brie
and
Larson and whatchamacallit was on Jimmy Fallon just on Friday. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that was a bit of a bummer. I'm glad that the actors struck to get what they needed to get, but like you can imagine the campaign where Amon Vellani had the chance to like geek out and be happy about this movie and like show up on like all kinds of things like Hot Ones and things like that. That
Yeah.
She just
She
didn't
did.
get to.
I mean, she did the premiere. I mean, I saw that premiere that she did, and she was very enthusiastic, and
Yep.
and
She
she
was
like,
herself.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly. And so you see this in this scene right here where she's like, oh, I have all these superpowers. That this is when Nick Fury and Monica came to visit Jersey
Yep.
City, and this is before the fight scene that they had, that they basically destroyed the whole house.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh, and yeah, it's really interesting. I mean, some of it was in the trailer, but at the same time, I think that yeah, that they destroyed the house. I was like, what the family's like? What are you gonna do? Like, who's gonna pay for
Yeah.
that?
At the end, I thought they were all moving into like Maria's house, like,
That,
but apparently
Maybe.
that was just Carol moving into Maria's
Yeah,
house.
yeah,
Which is
yeah. No,
like,
no. I think it's just Carol because
yeah,
I mean we know that her older brother has a girlfriend, right, from Ms. Marvel. So it's like
yeah.
from the show.
Not
So
a
yeah,
wife. Yeah,
a
his
wife.
wife. They're
Yeah,
married, so I think they're in another house. But like they're very close knit. So I assume what was happening here is that he was visiting them,
right.
even though he might have a different house. But yeah, their house is is just
I kind
that's
of
those
felt sorry for them because they like
those
yeah.
those are the kind of things that I was talking about. I wasn't talking about when I said that they cut out things that I would have appreciated. They don't go back to the water planet. They don't address what happened to her house because
Yeah,
you assume Sword is going to pay for it, but like something should say that because
yeah.
their house is very ventilated, just like with body like a cartoon with body holes in the middle of the
Yeah,
house.
I'm like, oh, like how are you gonna? I mean, now that they're in the MCU, you can explain it away and say, oh yeah, Homer sure is gonna pay for it or something like that, or like someone's gonna pay for it,
damage
but like,
control
but
Damage
still, I'm
control.
like,
That's
I'm
right.
like,
damage
come,
control. It's funny. Damage control was the nemesis in
yeah,
the
in Miss Marvel,
Miss
yeah,
Marvel show. But they would be the agency to call up to actually fix this,
there you
fix
Well,
the
go,
house.
remember, they don't have a very good experience with damage control.
there you
Yeah, exactly,
go,
exactly. Yeah.
there you go,
So
exactly.
they would be, yeah. Adding that would have been interesting. Like if damage control showed up and they were like they looked at them a little askew because of what
Yeah.
happened in Miss
So
Marvel.
we
That would
are under
that,
surveillance. Is that
that
right?
yeah, exactly. That would have been cool. But mostly what I wanted more of was like the basically the natural disaster that Carol created over 30 years because she
Mm,
destroyed the Supreme Intelligence. Like more about
Agree.
that would have
That
been
definitely
interesting.
could have used a lot more
Yeah,
intro, right?
right,
yeah.
Backstory to that.
right.
But instead,
Backstory.
we
Yeah,
got what, 30 seconds of it, right? If that.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. But again, her family's such a joy. I mean, this is from Ms. Marvel, but like,
yeah,
they're so down to earth. They're so awesome,
yeah,
and it's just like yeah. And we went through that whole examination. Nathan and Priya and I went through this whole examination of Ms. Marvel. How it was such a great show and stuff, and there's still such a joy, and it translated into a movie where like there's
yeah,
other leads, there's other people that are involved, but they stood out, even though they were
yeah,
supporting roles, they stood out. So it's like it's just really cool overall. Yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
They were great. Yeah,
Yeah, and so we find out that their powers are intertwined, and we get to kind of see that their first mission is to try to save the scrolls, because the villain Darben is trying to take away the air of this planet that is occupied, that's not occupied by is
it's a
yeah,
colony
it's
by
colony of
Emperor
scroll
Drogue.
refugees basically.
Yeah, Emperor Drogue, who was mentioned in Secret Invasion, which is the
Yeah.
only thing that you have to remember from Secret Invasion, really, because like Nick Fury shows up in this movie acting completely different than he did in that
Exactly. It's
show.
kind of
yep.
weird.
Like
Yeah.
like the weight off of his world, even though like Maria Hill died in that show.
Right.
Like it doesn't really. That's another thing that just didn't make any sense. If this movie happened before the stuff in Secret Invasion, sure, I guess that makes sense. But if it happened
Yeah.
afterwards, it's a completely different character.
So
Like,
Nathan, Colin and I were talking about that before we got this started, and something that I looked up is it looks like the intent was for the Marvels to come out before Secret
I see,
Invasion.
I see.
So
Yeah,
if that was the case and they stuck to that, I think it matches kind of up with the what we witnessed or viewed on Secret
okay. So
Invasion.
so so
Yeah.
so at this point, Talos is not dead, and neither is
Supposedly,
Maria Hill.
right?
Okay,
Otherwise, but the reality is we don't know. It doesn't say exactly when in timeline it doesn't make it very clear. So we can
Yeah.
only assume that these take place after Secret Invasion. So no, you're right. There's no mention of Talos, right?
Right.
There's no, and it doesn't explain why Fury is the way he is, and where's his wife, and all that
Right,
stuff,
exactly.
too, right?
So
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
if it happened before, we did find out in Secret Invasion he was keeping her secret. So they have to be clear about where I understand that when it was supposed to be released.
Yep.
It was supposed to
Yep.
be released. It was supposed to be released where Quantumanium was released, but it wasn't released then. So, but we've gotten Marvel things out of order. They just need to tell us.
Correct. They got to tell us, right?
I actually
Yeah.
I actually ordered on Amazon the MCU, the Marvel Studios official timeline book. I haven't read it yet. I'll give you that. I'll
Is
give
that
you
the
that.
recent book that came out?
Yes, and also the MCU book, that the Rise of the MCU book. I got a couple of the books and stuff like that, so I'll go through it.
The other argument for this being before Secret Invasion is that well, there's arguments for it being before and after, because there's Valkyrie shows up and she brings more Skrulls to a planet that was trying to kill them. If it's after Secret Invasion, but if it's before Secret Invasion, apparently Talos didn't hear that the colony that Drogue had was destroyed, because he mentions this colony in Secret Invasion. So it doesn't make sense for either one, but I think it makes more sense, especially how Nick Fury is acting, if it's before Secret Invasion. So you can just say that maybe Talos is not getting up-to-date information from the colony, and you can explain that away. But there's too many things to explain away if it's after. So
right,
yeah.
right, exactly. So sorry. So this is actually Hala. So Hala is actually one of the plot points of the story. But like you said, there could have been some more backstory. John shaking his head. It's like, there should have been more stuff about it. This is actually from the first movie. This is see from the first movie. And so we understand that Hala's resources is all dried up because of the Annihilator, who is Captain Marvel.
Right. So like I said, this is definitely where they try to cover this in 30 seconds, and they at least show and don't tell the entire thing, but it was half showing and half telling. Right. She destroys. They show her destroying it, but they don't show all the aftermath, and the aftermath is, okay, the Supreme Intelligence that she destroyed, which was a millennia old.
Yeah.
Which controlled the civilization.
Yeah, they came to depend on
created a civil war, and a civil war that destroyed the planet. They can't breathe. Their ocean is dried up. They destroyed their sun. So it was a very brutal civil war, and it was. And the sense that I get is that it was a civil war that spun out into the galaxy, because it's the Kree Empire, right? They have colonies all over. So, and it also explains why in Guardians of the Galaxy, the original one, the Kree were okay with peace, because their empire was falling apart. It retroactively explains a lot of things, and why Ronan was like, "Oh, I don't care what they want. You guys are not pure or whatever." But it explains why they were open to doing peace treaties. But yeah, explaining that more would have been good.
Yeah, so I like Thor: Love and Thunder. You know how you got the lead up to it, right? The cold open where you're showing Gore and his backstory a little bit. I thought this movie could have used that, hey, picking up right after here's where Captain Marvel did Off-World. She did what she said at the end of Captain Marvel. Yeah. She went to Hala and destroyed the Supreme Intelligence. Yeah. However, look at all the things that resulted. That way, it established the motive and the motivation of Dar-Benn, and that's where you could probably introduce Dar-Benn a little bit better there, and that way we could be a little more invested on. Hey, Dar-Benn definitely has great motivation and reason for all of this, and then it shows. Fast forward to she finds the bangle, right? And I just thought it could use a lot more of that.
Yeah, I think what you're saying is the edit that you're suggesting would have made this I think you're suggesting would made this more of a movie and more or less of a prelude, like I said it was.
Yeah.
Like I think they just wanted this to zip and wanted this to be fun, but it being a movie, it should have we didn't need to start with Kamala, even though, like I said, I think what they found in the edit is that Kamala was like the most interesting and fun and whatever, so they put her first. But really, it's a sequel to the Captain Marvel movie.
Yeah,
So we should have started on Hala, her destroying the supreme intelligence, and them having more scenes about like the aftermath in the 30 years, the war and everything, and
how it has affected her,
and even showing how it's affecting her, but also how it's affected the galaxy and why she kept away for 30 years, because she's trying to fix her the rash decisions that she made. They could have even pulled in some clips from Guardians of the Galaxy, like I said, to show that the Empire was falling. This was why they were doing the peace treaty. So that would have been more of a movie, and that would have been if they added the 20 or something minutes to do that. But like, I don't know.
I don't think it needed 20 minutes. For Gore the God Butcher, we didn't get 20 minutes, but it was just enough, right? Just a few more minutes, maybe 5, right? But at the same time, this also speaks to the tone issues that I spoke of as well, right? Like, you're right. They wanted to focus on a little bit more fun. Yes, in fact, almost every review of this movie refers to it as a fun movie. Yes, it's fun. At the same time, there are also some pretty heavy issues in the movie that I think it has trouble balancing. Because if you're going to make it too fun, too funny in some parts, too silly on some parts, what is the consequence, or what is the actual what are the actual stakes being presented here that we should take seriously, or just gloss it over? Like
they drop all the heavy stuff in the middle when they're in the field, the wheat field. So like they're like not all of it. Well, some of it. So like on the when they scrub through the memories, they drop the mom died, Maria died when she was blipped. So
that was that was the most emotional scene. That to me that takes the cake in the whole movie.
And she hugs and Kamala hugs her, and then she pulls Carol in to hug her as well. So that was a sweet, and that was at least had some time to breathe between that and the wheat field. But they did also sort of not just deal with the ramifications of the Civil War in the field. They also were kind of dealing with her relationship with Carol's relationship with
Monica.
With Monica. She's like, I just wanted my aunt. So like they were trying to do so much in that scene, and they did it very quickly, and then they got back to the speedy fun thing stuff.
Yeah, it was again to me that was too quick. In fact, one of the things I said to my wife afterwards, I was like, they didn't give that enough time to breathe. Like, I wanted to feel the impact of what Monica was carrying, and Carol trying to come to grips with it. And the backstory she actually had, that was a reveal in this movie, which was she actually went back and saw Maria, right? During the blip is what it was. And that's why, to me, it hit a little harder. But then I was like, quick cut. It's like, we don't have enough time to spend.
It wasn't terrible, but it could have been better. Because
it could have been a lot better.
Even the Kamala saying, so Kamala apologizing for not treating Carol like a human and like treating her like an idol. All that happened in that field. Yeah. So they do what they need to do, but they do it very quickly.
Yeah, to me, it just came off like check the box. Okay, we gotta do this. Do it. By the way, all this, which was followed by the training montage, right?
Right.
Yeah. All of this takes place after those poor Skrulls lose their planet, like devastating, right?
Yeah.
And to me, it was just like, hey, they spend like 2 seconds on those poor people. Anyways, let's go on to this next thing.
Yeah. So yes, the memory thing, them syncing their powers, which I thought that was actually a pretty fun.
It was pretty cool. But again, I wanted more time on the montage, right? So.
Yeah. I feel like there was probably another montage that they cut, and this is the one that we got was probably a reshoot. They were like when they actually were trying to sync their powers and they were actually fighting. That's probably what was in another cut, and they were like, okay, we gotta put that we're syncing up somehow, so we're gonna reshoot on the ship it was probably a lot cheaper to actually do the reshoot on the ship rather than whatever they did when they originally tried to sync up their powers.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was quick. But I imagine that in the original cut it was longer, and they were actually trying to fight to sync themselves up.
Yeah,
I don't know. Marvel does a lot of reshoots.
Yeah, they do.
So yeah, we go to this. I forget what the name of the planet is.
It's it's not Alondra. It's Star Trek.
It's Marvel Rhapsody.
Yeah. So it's I don't. It starts with an A. I always forget the name.
Adela?
No. I'll look it up. Hold on.
Yeah, I know a lot of people don't like this.
Yeah.
I hated it.
I think it was fine.
Aladna is the planet.
Better after, because I like musicals. I think I would have liked it better if they would. I mean, I feel like the people who wrote the songs from WandaVision were right there. Hire them, right?
Mm-hmm.
like this could have been better.
But Nathan,
it wasn't terrible. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't terrible. But like
it was out of place. It was completely.
And also like I understand why they were doing it, because it's not like out of left field. Like it's actually something that happened in the Captain Marvel books. Like this actually happened to her. There actually is like a singing planet and stuff like that. But like make the music good, right? Like
you're Disney, right? It's like I think I know what you're saying, Nathan. You're Disney. You could do that,
exactly.
you know?
Yeah, Disney with the Disney princess, and you
exactly.
South Korea is one of his biggest stars for a 2-second cameo.
Yeah. I feel like he's in the movie for 5 minutes. That's another thing that I think that was probably cut down. He was probably in the movie longer as well. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I saw an interview where they asked him. He was like, "I was really surprised that that's all I got on the film."
Yeah.
So apparently there were more. Yeah, you're right, Nathan.
Yeah, because they don't go back to check on the scroll. I mean,
what happened to the planet? Is it completely dead?
I think they definitely left the planet. Well, the scroll planet is completely dead. I don't know, like 90% of this planet is supposed to be water. I don't know if like Hala needed all of their ocean, so maybe it's not dead. But they never went back and checked.
No, they never did.
I think I think what they needed to do, they absolutely needed to do, was her going back to Hala to fix the sun. But they also probably should have checked in on all the planets that Dar-Benn.
Remember, it's a marriage by convenience. She doesn't need to check in with him. Yeah, it's definitely funny.
These are things that were probably cut from the original runtime.
Yeah. And you're right. You know, he goes into battle and basically they fight and then they basically leave and then like see you later.
Did he survive? Did he do all right?
Yeah. Exactly.
My eyes were rolling so far back on this whole set piece.
Yeah, but the thing is that they did,
it's
you know.
Funny. I would like the director's cut of this, because like I think they cut up. They really did cut up like Nia's movie, and I think it's like they probably gave her like notes to death.
Well,
and I don't know
according to
if
her,
they're like overcorrecting from like Chloe Zhao, where they gave her like no notes and it came out the way that it did, but like it's obvious that they cut her movie up.
Well, according to her, she's the one who cut it down. She actually favored. Now I don't know if she's just saying the company line here after the fact, but you know she's owning up to the fact that she liked to keep it short. And she even referenced like these other movies as to why she likes it that short.
I mean, I'd like to, and this is never going to happen, or it might never happen. If it happens, I can't tell anyone. But like, I'd like to have a proper conversation with her, because I feel like that's not the case at all. I feel like that doesn't make any sense based on what she's like done before and what she's like. The story about her moving on to another project, it seemed like she was unhappy with the fact that she didn't.
I believe that totally.
she was in it. She was in it. She wasn't able to direct the entire movie, and she got a lot of notes. And like I said, I feel like Chloe Zhao was able to come into the room with like an Oscar and do whatever she wanted to do, and they let her do whatever she wanted to do, and the Eternals came out the way that it did. And she was a newer filmmaker, and they pushed on her more. Because of the Chloe Zhao situation. So,
I think also the you know, when it was leaked online that was a musical, like the Marvels is a musical. I mean, it's confirmed, it's correct, but it was only a part of it. You know,
it was less than 10 minutes.
Yeah. So I mean, I was intrigued when that first came out. I was like, well, that's pretty intriguing. That never been done before, and I think they pulled it off okay. You know, it's not like it's great.
It wasn't terrible. I just it could have been great if the music was better.
Yeah.
Like Yeah.
I did like the one line she said that he's bilingual.
Yeah.
Yes.
That cracked me up. That did actually
Yes,
crack
that
me
was
up.
good. That was good.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
So,
And so we see here that Darben actually comes in and like steals the water and using the power using the her powers to steal the water. So that's kind of like the ending part of it, and then trying to and then draw out the Marvels as they kind of left the planet and stuff. So that's kind of like where this scene was at. And so
mhm.
and so this is where they get their new costumes, because they have to have an upgrade costume, and so this is a scene
Yeah. They
as
have to
them
do that in
leaving
every
it.
movie to sell the
Yeah,
toys.
Yep.
exactly.
Toys.
Yeah.
Merchandise.
So this is where that happened there, as they were leaving the Aladdin planet,
Mhm.
and then they go back to the space station, and again, this is from the trailer, where they're trying, where Darben's next target is Earth's sun. Actually, I mean that's our solar system, and so trying to take away our sun. And basically, all heck breaks loose here, and they couldn't evacuate everybody, and so they came up with an idea, which was so funny. It's like, the Florkins
So stupid.
eating the eating the
Use the
people.
baby Flurkins, which
Yeah.
we actually got hints of the Goose being pregnant earlier on in the movie when
Hmm.
Kamala's family came up and she was
Right.
like, "You guys are overfeeding that cat."
Right.
So we got hints to what was going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is definitely this is the actual the Disney addition to that. I don't know. The
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy also had a bunch of cute animals in it as well.
Right.
This is also like I could take it or leave it. It's fine. I understand that people would
Oh, I liked
really love
it. I totally liked it.
tickets because they're very cute things.
Yeah,
This
I
was
totally liked it
over the
because they
top.
played
So over the
memory. It's
top.
awesome. It's like
Oh
on the
god.
nose. Even though I know cats, sometimes it's much maligned. The movie is definitely much maligned, but it's okay. It's all
No,
right.
nobody's allergic to cats. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
I
but
think I might be, but
I know I am.
yeah,
yeah.
if they threw in like a crazy cat lady joke, I'll be even more enthralled with
No,
it. So,
no. Yeah,
I get
again, this speaks to the again, like what are the stakes? They're over silly. I just thought it was a little too silly to.
I mean, I
So,
mean, this honestly, while this wasn't my favorite thing,
uh,
given the tone of everything else and the way that they cut this wasn't too far off of what was going on in this movie. Thor, on the other hand, you said that they started with something very dark and
yeah,
then they went off the rails.
yep,
Like that was a much more jarring tonal change.
it
This
is. Yep.
this was crazy and this is funny and or ridiculous, but it wasn't too far off from like
yeah.
Singing Planet and all and the opening sequence, which was very kinetic and fun and stuff like that. But like the tonal differences in Thor was just very off putting. They just should have continued. And I know maybe this isn't a Taika Waititi thing. How they started is how they should have kept that throughout the movie. And and he should have figured out a way to do that without it becoming Thor: The Dark World. But yeah, it was all over the place.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and so we see here where this is kind of like the final confrontation scene between the Marvels and also Darben, and so kind of like stopping her from getting from stealing the sun basically,
mhm.
and so they're left with a kind of like decision as we get closer to the end, a decision of trying to seal the hole in space that Darben created after she. Well, first of all, before that, it was the like she was able to get the bangle from Ms. Marvel,
Yeah,
and
they
yeah,
fight here and they actually pin her down, and then Monica suggests
yeah,
using her binary power. She suggests to Carol to use her binary power to restart the sun, the
right.
the the uh, the thermonuclear reaction within the
Well,
sun,
let's go back there.
and they let her get up, and she does the villain thing and steals
Yep.
the bangle.
Oh,
Hmm.
Uh,
jeez.
um, and basically destroys herself and rips a hole in space time
Right.
into another dimension. So yeah,
So
go
so that
ahead.
whole action scene, while I enjoyed it, if you guys can help explain to me, I guess I must have missed a part where I don't understand Carol's power set? If she's super powerful, why did she struggle so much with
No,
Dar-Benn?
what they established earlier on in the movie that the quantum bands were absorbing a lot of her. It was, every time Carol hit Dar-Benn, she directed it into the quantum band, and it absorbed a lot of it and just gave her it basically just charged her up. So you remember the first
But she
Avengers
couldn't
movie?
hit back as hard, right? Is that what it means?
She did hit her back just as hard. Like she threw her off the ship when they were fighting, when they were going back and forth on the water planet.
True.
So it was like in the Avengers movie when Thor hit Tony with the hammer, and it was like a 300% or whatever. So that's why she couldn't take her out by herself, because the quantum man was like absorbing a lot of her blows. So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Again, they must, like, I just completely missed that part. So
but yeah, so this is again, she then rips a hole in space after she was destroyed. And so
space time, right? Or is it dimension?
so it's it's another universe though.
Not space time. I said space time, but it's actually like it's space time would mean that they were going back into the past.
It was another universe. It wasn't. Yeah.
She ripped his hole in reality, basically,
Right.
into a different reality.
So it's a different reality. It's like a parallel reality and things like that. So that's what ended up happening. It wasn't like another dimension, like
So
in
that's,
Doctor
I guess
Strange.
that's the so that's kind of like what Kamala
It was an
referring to.
It was
Because she
an
was
occurrence.
doing, yeah, Kamala was referring to her bangle doing more of the time thing, right? Time jump.
Right.
Whereas
right.
this one now is opening a multiverse because of the two bands.
The two
So-
bands, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you look at the rip, it looked very very similar to the No Way Home rips that were happening in the sky as well. The very
Yeah.
purple-ish, like where this is a different universe thing. So yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right. Exactly. And so after that happened, Monica actually was on the other side of the rip, and so she was trying to seal the rip, and and Carol was trying to save her from kind of like being trapped on the other side, but was unsuccessful. And so they kind of like assumed that Monica is kind of lost on that other side of the rip, and so they then cut the scene back to Louisiana, where this is where Monica and Maria, Maria raised Monica as a child, and Carol was there as well back in the day. So I think, yeah, you're right, Nathan. This is probably where Carol decides to live, and with Kamala's family's help to try to bring her stuff into the house where
Was she
they
moving
used to live.
stuff in or taking stuff out?
She was moving stuff in because
I couldn't tell.
she had two giant boxes. It's funny. They have visual gags all the time. She had two giant boxes that she would like put like your entire like kitchen set or whatever in. One of them just said Goose Snacks and the other one said Carol Snacks, and they were just giant boxes. And so they were trying to show her super strength, but they were also trying to show, I guess they like the snack. They both like the snack a lot. So yeah.
Yeah, so that whole Monica scene, I don't know. I felt like that came out of nowhere, and
The Monica scene, at the end of the movie when they ripped the reality hole.
Yeah, when she sacrificed, herself to close it, right?
I will
felt
say,
like I could have lived up to that better.
I will say that it was not clear to me why she was the one who had to do it, but I feel like her. If I had to explain it, I would say that her powers seem more like scalpels, where all of Carol's power seems like hammers. So I don't know that Carol's could have she needed, like she could restart a sun because she has the intense power
super powerful
to restart a sun. But I don't know that she could have done the surgical work that she needed, that Monica needed. But like Monica's powers are not very well explained, and she had just got them in WandaVision, and they didn't explain them very well here. It's in line with the comics. Like the list of like Proton's powers or like a mile long, but it wasn't explained very well in the movie. But it makes sense from like a comic book point of view why she was the one who had to do it, because she had the most the most varied power set and the most, like I said, surgical power set. So
Yeah, and I think that is another one where I think they probably left on the cutting room floor a lead
yeah,
up to it that would have set that up a little bit better. It felt like the scene should have been more impactful emotionally, but it wasn't for me. I'm just like, oh, well, that happened.
Yeah, that's true.
I felt like there should have been a little bit better build up, even just a little bit leading up to that. Like, oh no, no. Again, I don't want to compare, but I have to. Look at the Loki finale, right? Granted, they had a lot of time to build up to it, but
yeah,
just a
like
little bit of a
12
build up.
hours.
I know. But
12.
what I'm saying is, like, even just a little bit of a build up to get even a fraction of what we got in that finale, especially after, because after this movie, the next day I watched the Loki finale. I'm going, holy crap, that was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And yes, it was.
Yeah.
It's a huge bar that they set, a very high bar they set after that. But again,
Right.
if they had a fraction of that, just leading up to it, just kind of set that up a little bit better, I think it would have been like I would have felt, oh man, Monica, now I want to see what happens next after that. So
Yeah,
anyways,
yeah,
that's my criticism of that one.
I think I think we're on the same page. This movie could be great with 20 minutes that made sense to make things connect better. It's still good and fun though.
Right.
I think it's middle of the pack Marvel as opposed to like terrible Marvel though. Like there's
Oh, it's not. I don't think it's terrible Marvel at all. Yeah.
like it's like middle of the pack and probably more fun than a lot of things that came in phase 2 and some that came in phase 1. So yeah, but yeah, it would have been a better movie with an extra 20 minutes to explain some things.
Right. Exactly.
So,
Yep. So we are now almost near the end in terms of what happened to John there? But anyways, yeah, I think he dropped off. Maybe. Hold on one sec. Oh.
or maybe you walked away for a bit.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so, yeah, we have the two scenes. We have
Two scenes, yes. So we have the two scenes at the end. So we had this is actually part of the movie where Ms. Marvel was trying to do the Nick Fury thing, which I found very very funny. Because she's so meta. It's like so meta about it. It's like you don't now it's not even fourth wall breaking, but it was just like just so meta. It's like we're doing the same speech as Nick Fury did in Iron Man, and so there's John. So and then trying to recruit Kate Bishop, which I was shocked. I was shocked that they try to incorporate her, but into this movie, that was a total shocker to me.
It makes sense to me because the Young Avengers is typically
right, but I didn't think that
by Kate.
But I didn't think that they would put her in the movie just to do the Young Avengers recruitment pitch. So it's like, that was a good kind of like, oh, okay.
This is what I was talking about though. This is much more interesting to me than Hercules or Claire or whatever her name is. Charlize Theron. Like I like Sharon as a actor, but I don't really care about that character. I do care about Kate Bishop because of the Hawkeye show, but also because of the Young Avengers. And I'm very interested to see them put this team together. They name check Cassie Lang, who I could give or take, but like there are other people as well. We saw Bradley,
we have Ironheart. Yeah. We have Isaiah Bradley's grandson.
Patriot.
Yeah.
Patriot.
Yeah.
Wiccan.
Wiccan, Speed. Yep.
Yeah.
So there's some potential.
Kid Loki, right? So.
I don't know if they're going to do Kid Loki. I think they were going to put Loki aside for a while, but there's also like the Hulk's son, Scar. So
Scar, and also and maybe even
in love as well from Thor's kid.
But maybe even if they are very ambitious, maybe even Miles Morales, but that's probably a little further out. Or they could. I mean, I don't know if the thing with me is that I don't know if they're gonna put Spider-Man because he was an Avenger already, so it's like he's probably not gonna be it, but Miles Morales could be. That could be something down the line.
I doubt it, and we should probably we've been talking for an hour. We could do another video on the Young Justice. It's like this was a very cool setup.
And then the mid-through credit scene, because we did have a post-credit scene, and then we find out Monica travel to another parallel universe, finds out that her mom is right next to her bedside.
But not her mom.
A younger version of her mom.
Yeah.
Not her mom, not her mom from this universe. And
Yeah,
then
when I say not her mom, I think not even like this woman hasn't had a child. It doesn't.
Right.
It doesn't seem
Right,
like. Yeah.
right. And
Yeah.
then we also see kind of like a souped up version, CGI version of Beast. Kind of like it reminded me a little bit of Hulk from
Animated
Endgame.
series.
Like
Oh, okay,
the CGI design
yeah.
was very much like that, but it was like,
it's
but it's
more-
definitely not
more
like this.
modern.
It wasn't like this. It was like a CG.
Yeah, this is make.
Yeah.
This is makeup.
Yeah. But it was very, very interesting to kind of see Kelsey Grammer coming back as Beast, and the whole theater kind of gasps. It's like, oh my gosh! And then you see the X-Men symbol, and you see the doors with the X-Men, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
now I'm really psyched because it's like they finally established the fact that not in 616. So whatever type of multiverse craziness going to happen to try to incorporate the X-Men into the MCU, I'm in for it. Let's see. Let's see how it plays out.
Yeah.
Like
movie had
give me
X-Men.
some like shenanigans. Like hopefully the shenanigans get them into this universe. I'm speculating that it's going to be some sort of destruction, like what happened in Loki. Like some of the branch timelines probably that got destroyed. They had to come in because of it.
Or the rift isn't completely repaired. What Monica didn't repair. So Maria shows up in this end credit scene, and she's also wearing the quantum bands from this universe. She's wearing both of them, so we know that she can open a rift to send her back. So maybe that causes a conflict between the two universes, because if the quantum bands from Monica and Carol's and Kamala's universe could open up a rift, the ones that Binary are using would be just as strong, right? So I think there'll be some sort of conflict there. But like I said, all this is far more interesting to me than Hercules, in which
very interesting.
Stuff.
And then again,
with the X-Men showing up, yeah, definitely.
Yes, all for it. John, what do you think of the first kind of like the not really the first, well, kind of unofficial appearance of X-Men?
Like Ralph Burner was like a fake out. They did establish that mutants exist in the Marvel universe because they made Kamala a mutant, but they also made Namor a mutant in the Wakanda Forever movie as well. They mentioned that he's a mutant as well.
Right.
But yeah, this is like X-Men mutants.
Yes.
Yeah, I think this could have come sooner. I don't know what was taking them so long. Honestly, this should have been, X-Men or X-Men hints or references or something like that. I think could have been the connective tissue all along for this new phase, right? Because if you remember from the first phase, you only had really two connective points. One was Coulson showing up constantly, right?
Right.
And then the other was references to like the Infinity
Stones,
like the Tesseract and all that stuff, right? Yeah. Here it would have been cool to see if they started connecting various or little bits and pieces of X-Men stuff along the way a little bit more rather than just Kamala. I think it would have hit a little harder, and I think that might have been the thing that get people going, oh yeah, so that's what they're connecting. And then when they saw the multiverse connection instead, or at least hints towards that, and it kept falling, not flat, but it just didn't deliver impactfully as people wanted.
True.
I think that kind of tempered their enthusiasm a little bit, especially when you have a mediocre movie coming out like Doctor Strange, a Multiverse of Madness, come out, and it didn't hit home the way they thought it would, like No Way Home. They wanted more No Way Home type thing.
Yeah. They should not have named that movie that.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not gonna spend more time.
Huge expectations, right?
I'm not gonna spend more time like trashing that movie, but like it was marketed poorly. Yeah. If that was the way it could have been Wanda versus Wanda versus Scarlet Witch versus the Doctor Strange versus the Scarlet Witch. A lot of other things would have been more interesting because if you have the multiverse from that movie.
on, we're like, where's the X-Men? Where's the X-Men? Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
multiple. It's not the but,
I mean, if
like,
anything, that would have been a great time to do a
I
little
mean,
bit more, other than kill off the one main X-Men character that did show up, right?
we do get X-Men in there, that movie, and Inhumans, but like, yeah, but yeah, it's
Yeah, but I am excited for this. I am, but I have to say that some of the internet chatter, they're not. I mean, I know there were leaks already for this, and it's pretty dampened for this movie,
Yeah.
and they're seeing it in the box office receipts, unfortunately.
Right. Yeah, unfortunately, but hopefully there's better days ahead for Marvel, and I think that now that we've seen the release schedule, for there's only Deadpool that comes out next year. I think
Which
that
will
this
probably
is
do X-Men, right? It'll probably
right,
do something.
exactly.
definitely be a lot
Yeah,
of X-Men. We're definitely
yeah,
going to see Wolverine. So yeah,
right. So I think that because of that, I think hopefully they're able to kind of take a breath, pause, and then I wouldn't want to say reboot. It's not a reboot. It's just like
It's
just
just like
just take a
I don't want them. I
yeah.
don't want them to throw away anything that they
Hmm.
plan. I am actually interested in the multiverse saga, especially after seeing the end of Loki. I want to
Yes.
see the Kang War. I want to see Secret War. I want to see that stuff.
Right.
If they need to recast Jonathan Majors, after things shake out the way they do, that's fine. But they shouldn't like switch to Doctor Doom, because Doctor Doom needs his own lead up, and he's a completely different thing.
Yep.
They shouldn't just replace him.
Yep.
They should just keep going and just correct where they need to correct.
Right.
They're the kings of reshoots anyway. Just correct what they need to correct, but stay
Right.
the course.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Any other thoughts before we wrap up, John?
No, just better days ahead.
Yeah, I think so
Forward to
too.
it.
That there's going to be better days ahead. I think that Marvel has had some ups and downs, through Phase 4, Phase 5 right now. But I think that it's a little bit overblown. But at the same time, there's some legitimate criticisms, and there's many factors as to why that is. But yeah, I think that's encouraging, and I think that Deadpool is going to deliver, and I think that there's going to be some good things to it, and then looking back, we're gonna see the kind of like the bad, the good and the bad. It's kind of like what you said, Nathan, about Phase 1, Phase 2. There's some uneven points there too. It just was a lot more spread out.
Right,
And so it
because
wasn't
yeah, they
yeah.
dumped a lot of content since 2020.
right, right,
2021. A lot of content. So
correct.
I think their hit rate is the same. It's just that it's just that they're it's only been 3 years, and it's been a lot of content. So even though their hit rate is the same, you had more time to absorb their low points.
Yeah,
In the
exactly.
past. You had years to absorb their low points, whereas like they have a couple low points every year.
Yeah,
Even if the percentages are the same, they have a couple low
yeah,
points
and
every year.
hopefully this lull that we're gonna have, because Deadpool's not coming back until July 2024. That's like almost a year. So there's gonna be some time for like people to
I mean,
like.
Echo's coming up, which is cool.
Well, yeah, that's true. January. So yeah,
Echo's going to beat Deadpool to the punch in the MA rated R thing. So the trailer's
yes,
really cool.
that's true.
We'll see if the show is really cool. But the trailer's
Exactly.
really, I'm looking forward to that one.
Yep, exactly. All right, so we want to hear from you. What do you think of the Marvels? What do you think of the MCU in general? So please, if you have any thoughts, comment down below. Like, share, subscribe for more content like this, and we will see you in the next one.
And check out our reviews for WandaVision and Miss Marvel as well. We did reviews for the entire show. So
Yep,
tie
exactly.
into this movie.
All right. Have a good one, guys. Bye.
Bye, everyone.